Fantastic Four. Uh, yeah, it was fine. I don't think it's what the Marvel uh, cinematic universe needs to get back to where it was a few years ago, where everyone was super excited for every new release. It kind of had this. It had some positive things going for it. Um, all the acting was good. All the casting was good. It kind of went to a version of the characters that's more like they are in most versions of the comics. Um, Reed was Reed. It played up his intelligence. It went with a kind of a mid-century retro futuristic vibe where things kind of look like they did in the 60s, and the technology mostly looks like it's styled after the 60s, and suits are from the 60s, and Pan Am is still around. But then Reed Richards has invented all this technology, flying cars, and so forth. So it replicates kind of some of the features you expect from the comics, right? For some reason, didn't gel. Like, you have positive elements, the portrayals, the characterizations. Story was okay, but just didn't work quite as well as I'd like. Like, it's entertaining. I wouldn't mind having it on in the background. I guess because of when it's being released, it's going to be all these comparisons to Superman, and there's similarities. You know, they're both kind of Silver Agey. They both are doing something where they're trying to introduce their characters mid-story. But Superman does it, and they just like have a little scroll, and they're like, okay, we trust you know who Superman is. We've seen this enough times to kind of know this character, what he's about, what he stands for, and all that. And then this, it tries to do it both ways, like starting mid-story, okay. And it's not an origin story exactly, even though the title is First Steps. But then it also has like an in-universe flashback, like a story. And they've done that in the comics before, like when they start a new runner, they'll like explain who the characters are. So like there's I was just reading one where they have like a Fantastic Four store, and there's like a holographic display telling the story of the Fantastic Four. I'm like, all right, that's fine. But you know, you're trying to do it both ways. Effects, most of the film pretty good. You know, the space effects are good, entertaining. The technology effects and all that, and the superpowers. Weirdly, they CGI'd the baby for a lot of scenes, and it looked bad. Like 90s dancing baby gif from GeoCities bad. And it's kind of hard to explain. Like, it's not composited well, and it looks plasticky, and it's like, how much money did you spend to make this movie? It's 2025, like, we know what the limitations of this technology are. Why does this look bad? Regardless, I liked Pedro Pascal. I think he did a good job. He didn't do exactly Pedro Pascal. So he, in a lot of his previous stuff, he's kind of playing similar characters, very stoic men who don't, who play father figures, and he's still doing that here. Reed Richards is somewhat reserved, but he's playing him like in the comics. Reed in the comics is someone who like is so smart and so far ahead of everyone that he has trouble relating, and he doesn't always communicate his thoughts very well. So they have a scene in here where he has an argument with Sue, and it makes sense character-wise that they would have this argument. but like, the acting was good, but weirdly with good acting, I just still didn't buy that these were two people who cared about the outcome of this argument. So I don't know. Maybe Sue did not have good chemistry, actor wise, with, I don't know. They did a version of Silver Surfer, a version of Galactus, and this is something that's like been in a Fantastic Four movie before. They've done a few of these Fantastic Four movies, never been successful, and this is like the fourth one or fifth attempt making a movie, and it's just never worked. And this is probably the best attempt. But I do kind of wonder, like, when are they going to say, okay, we've made like a bunch of these, and it's never quite been what we expected. But back to Superman. So you have Superman coming out around the same time, and that has like a very clear thesis, like a clear theme. And the thesis of this is kindness. This is a movie about kindness. And Fantastic Four has something kind of similar. So it's clearly meant to be a movie about family, and this is given in a speech, just like in Superman has a speech about kindness. Fantastic Four has a speech about family, and in that speech about family, she's very direct, like, we are family and you're all our family, and all that. So this is clearly meant to be the theme of the movie, but it doesn't permeate the movie in the same way that the theme of Superman does. Like, you watch Superman and you go through the whole thing, and it's all about kindness, and you see it shown in multiple ways, despite having some heavy exposition. And here you have that moment of exposition. That's what this is about, but it just isn't tied together. And I know this sounds like I'm negative about the movie. I'm not. I liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie. It just doesn't gel for me, and it's a hard thing to explain because you're trying to be media literate and use terminology that's media literate so that I can explain to you why this work of commercial art does not create in me the feeling it's intended to. And all I'm giving you is vibes. It just doesn't feel right. But I think that's a legitimate place to be with it. Like, it didn't move me. Didn't really have anything that much to say about its thesis. Like, with Superman, it's trying to say something. Like, it's happening in a moment where people are not being kind, and where I think a lot of people are looking for a story about someone who is kind, unerringly, and is a good person, and it's a superhero movie, so they have superpowers, but that's incidental to who they are as a person, and that's hitting people now. That's making them feel something. And I just don't know that we need a story that says family is important. Like, I think we understand that. I think most people understand that. Most people value family. So for the movie to say you shouldn't sacrifice your baby to save the world, or sacrifice the world to save your baby. What? So the message is not one that I think anyone needed to hear, because no one is in that position. But again, it's an entertaining movie, and it didn't do anything wrong. So where it fits in the larger Marvel, storytelling story, it's fine. We will probably see more of these characters. They introduce a villain at the end, very briefly, who will be in the broader Avengers movie, I guess. This is taking place in a different Earth than the MCU. So they will connect up at some point, I imagine, and be brought in the fold. So this is like one of those weird things of like buying. I think Fox owned Fantastic Four for a long time, and they bought Fox a while ago. They still haven't quite fully brought in the X-Men. They still haven't quite fully brought in Fantastic Four. I guess they're going to do it. Yeah, so see it when it's on streaming or in the theater, whatever. I don't care. Just, it's fine. It's fine.